G'day everyone, it's Louis Vuitton. Welcome back to the channel for another video. Today's topic is something that's kind of been on my mind lately. It comes up every so often, gets talked about in the media or talked about online, and there's a lot of misconception surrounding this topic. So hey, I'd like to give you my thoughts and maybe give a bit more of a accurate representation of the issue and a bit more information so that you know in future. I myself am not Indigenous, but I've lived in Australia my whole life. I want this just to be a real short, succinct video that covers all the information, nice and easy, the kind of video that you can take and show to a relative, you know, like an aunt or uncle or grandparent, someone that might have a bit of a misunderstanding on this kind of topic. You know the kind of views I'm talking about. So hey, I want to share what I know, what I've learned, so that hopefully you can be a bit more informed on the topic. So let's dive right into it. The question of the white Aborigine. Well, the thing about this topic is that whenever it comes up, there's always people in the comment section, always people in the replies, talking about how, oh mate, that's not a real Aborigine. It's not a true Aborigine. To people like this, you're not a real Aborigine unless you're black. There's all sorts of different ways to phrase this, you know, talking about things like half caste, half blood, full blood, part Aborigine. But when it comes to being an Indigenous Australian, that's not really stuff that they talk about. These aren't Indigenous concepts. These ideas were made up, not by them. So let's talk about it. Appearance is what people are judging a white Aborigine on. Appearance is what people seem to think determines a person's Indigenous status. But you see, here's the thing, when it comes to Indigenous Australians, your appearance doesn't determine your Indigenous status. No, for Indigenous Australians, it's all about family. And that's a concept that I think all of us can understand. I mean, your appearance doesn't determine your family. I mean, everyone who's not Indigenous is either an immigrant or descendant from immigrants. And hey, a lot of us that live in Australia today don't look like our grandparents. A lot of us, however many generations back, might look totally different. Australia has a really diverse population. People from all countries across the globe come here. So it's no surprise that when you put all those people together, given a few generations, people are going to start to look different. But here's the thing about that. If you've got a family member that looks different than you don't consider them any less family. And that's really what this is all about. You might have grandparents who came to Australia who look completely different from you. But when it comes down to it, what's important is family. Family ties, family connections, relations. Maybe you're a second, third, fifth generation Australian. Doesn't matter how far back you go. Even if they look completely different from you, they're still family, right? And really, that's what this conversation is all about. Family. When it comes to Indigenous Australians, it doesn't matter what they look like. If you're family, you're family. And if you're family, then you're Indigenous. And I think family is an idea that we can all get behind. It doesn't matter what the members of our family look like. If they're family, we still love them just the same. Let's talk a little bit more about the context that this topic comes up in. Whenever the concept of a white Aborigine comes up, it's always some kind of attempt to slander or call into question someone's Indigenous status. You know, the kind of news stories and media articles that put up a photo of somebody that could look like me and call his Indigenous status into question. And that's what this is about, trying to claim that there's no such thing as a white Aborigine, restricting Indigenous status to somebody who's full blood. But again, these concepts aren't Indigenous concepts. And this restrictive idea of reducing Indigenous status down to just somebody who looks black, well, that's insulting to Indigenous people. I mean, think about it like this. You might be a third generation Australian, but you might be really proud of your Italian heritage. How would you feel if somebody came up to you and said, because you look different to your grandparents, you're in some way less Italian than they are? And this is really the point I want to drive home. Appearance doesn't define identity, family does. It doesn't matter how white someone is. So other than what we've talked about, I want you to take away two things from this conversation. And I really mean this in a non-judgmental way, so please don't freak out, keep watching. Because the thing is, this isn't a new conversation. If you understand it now, if you get it, why did it take a white guy to explain it to you? And well, if you're sitting there and you're saying, oh, hang on, this is the first time I've heard about this. Don't judge me. That's cool, that's fine, mate. But listen, if this is the first time you're hearing it, I want you to ask, why is it the first time I'm hearing this? I want you to consider, whose voices are you listening to? What points of views might be the ones being promoted? What narrative is being presented and where? Media, education, politics? What voices are speaking the loudest? Because again, this ain't a new conversation. Indigenous Australians have been saying this ever since we got here. So hey, I hope this helps. I hope it allows you to understand the conversation a bit more. And I really hope that you take this information on and maybe even go listen to some other Indigenous people talk about the same topic. So again, what voices are being promoted and what voices do we need to be listening to? Thank you very much for watching. I'm Louis Vuitton. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing, liking the video, ring the bell so you get notifications, and follow me on Twitch, Twitter, join the Discord through the link down below. I'll see you all later.